right.
Put your head down.
I'm so glad. I'll tell you guys, I love going on vacation, but I love being home. And this, this is my church home. And I love you guys.
That's okay, I'm crying.
All right, so the eye of the storm, embracing conflict and peace. Isn't that a cool picture?
It is.
And one of the things that's so fun about doing this stuff is
Being creative.
putting it together. It's just like woohoo. So we all know that Unity has 5 basic principles. And a lot of this stuff, well, maybe it's because Gary Simmons, the author of the book, is a Unity minister. But a lot of this stuff really relates to our 5 principles. And they're just, I like the fact that you can do this little hand thing. God is, I am, I think, I pray, I live. So if you need a way to easily remember those 5 principles, that's an easy way to do it. And
We can
so,
get some more copies of that and put them out on the display.
yeah, the hand.
Hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea
Thanks.
because it just is. The more that we just take this into our, not just our consciousness, but our subconscious, and the more you practice this stuff, the deeper it gets into your subconscious, and that's when it really starts coming together. Is when it gets to be a habit, subconscious. So let's start with an opening prayer. So take a moment, center yourself, take a couple deep breaths. Heavenly Spirit, thank you for bringing us together today. Thank you for everything that we will learn and talk about and discuss and then put into practice in our lives through these lessons by Gary Simmons, another wonderful Unity minister. We are so grateful for everything that we've already learned and everything we continue to learn every day. We never stop learning and growing as long as we're here. Just as the leaves are coming out on the trees and the blossoms are coming out on the shrubs and the flowers are blooming, we are ready to bloom once more. And we are so grateful for that, grateful for this time together, and we give thanks. And it is so. Amen. Amen. Okay, so the purpose of this program, the entire program as a whole, is to help us become comfortable with the discomfort of conflict, and then use that discomfort, use those uncomfortable situations to learn and grow, because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. That comes from the book. This part is one of my favorites. Our earthly existence is not meant to be free of conflict. It's just not the way life is. And it's not what happens. It's how we respond, how we deal with what happens that makes all the difference. That, if that was the only thing that you took from this, that would be enough. So, the eye of the storm, according to the author, Gary Simmons, the purpose of this book. How about, Michelle, would you read that for us?
The purpose of this book is to awaken each one of us to the truth that is there. Only one presence and one power at work in our life. And this presence and power lives in each of us as the Spirit of God. The entire universe is for us.
And that last line, we're going to be talking a lot about that. The title of the first chapter, what we're going through, what we're going to be doing today, well, I'll get to that. There are basically five ways that people deal with conflict. They compete, they collaborate, they withdraw, they accommodate or give in, or they compromise. And of those, we all have our favorites. So how I'd like to start is let's go around, let's quickly introduce ourselves and just say, give us your name and then share with us, if you're comfortable, what's your go-to when you encounter conflict? Do you compete, accommodate, withdraw, tend to compromise, or are you a problem solver? Linda?
Linda was a little late, so she's got put on the floor.
There you go. What happens when you have last one in the room?
Yeah, Linda, my name's Linda. I have a tendency to probably listen and probably problem solve.
Good.
I'm Sharon, and I'm between accommodate and withdraw.
I'm between.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't know who I am.
It's okay.
I'm Mary Ann, and I do about three, I would say. Accommodate, withdraw sometimes, and I can solve a problem. Because I don't like to, I used to, when I was younger, I used to like give in and stuff like that. So I would say three. It depends.
Wow.
It all
Wow,
depends.
it all depends.
Yeah.
My name is Kay. I think I would mostly go for a compromise, a split the difference.
Okay.
I would say,
Go ahead.
Darrell, I would say withdraw and compete.
Yeah? Okay. See, I think you're going to see more of the compete thing coming out of the male contingents here.
For me, like grief, that is a process. I do them all. And I start with compete, because I get really angry. And then I have to kind of accommodate a little, think it through, digest it, And I do tend to withdraw, because I have to think. I can't get it, but before, I would go right into compete. I'm a competitor, and then I'm a problem solver. But my problem solving usually is my way or the highway. That doesn't always work. But now I've gotten to the point through my processes at Unity that I kind of start at one, and I really go through the whole cycle and kind of digest each thing.
Okay.
My name is Linda. I'm Linda number 2. And I would say quite often I will problem solve if it's in a positive situation, and it's all situational. If there's a conflict, I withdraw. My past childhood, I avoid. You just learn to do that, and I'm working on that, getting better, but those are the two there.
Hi, my name is Kimberly, and I think I do, I compete at times, but I think I accommodate a lot. I used to, and I'm doing a little better at that. So now I think I'm more into compromise.
Good.
My name is Dave. I'm definitely problem solved. I try to get everything logical and focus on what needs to be done to solve the situation.
Very good.
My name is Linda,
She's number 1.
and it depends on who I'm with. I'm either problem solving or compromise.
I wish I could say that. It's a work in progress, right? My name is Carol, and I'm an individualized expression of God. And so what I do, I withdraw after the angry words, but I always want to have this is from 2 marriage, I always want to have the last word. So I'm saying the last word as I'm running away. I'm scared. And it's not
Well,
fun.
that sounds familiar.
It's not fun. I haven't
For the last of me.
Really, I haven't done that in many years, because I've been in a relationship, but here, that kind. But, I'll be quiet, but it feels so much better to have other tools so we don't have to feel like, we have choices now, be quiet.
Yeah. I mean, but it's good that we know, and I'm totally was withdraw. I mean, I just run. Yep. I ain't dealing, it's like,
Sure.
you bugging me and I ain't dealing with it. Bye. So, in fact, I mean, Mike and I rarely fight, seriously, which is great. However, we got into a little tiff last summer, and thank goodness that we live next to a nature preserve, because I just said, I'm going for a walk. And I went out in the nature preserve, and I was gone for probably an hour and a half. Because I just was so, you get angry and upset and all that stuff, and I didn't want to take it out on him. So I'm better at it, but I still need to separate myself from the situation, because I otherwise can do and say things that I will regret later.
I think we're all like that.
Oh, yeah.
We all do.
Can I ask a question on that? Do you
Absolutely.
think any one of them are better or worse than another? Or do you just need to be more aware and say, but I would like to be this? So if I start here, I really want to be that.
I think that question will be answered during the course of the discussions. And I believe that the problem solving is probably what we strive for. We want to strive for win-win, so that no one feels that they're coming out a loser. No, it's great if we say, if we're competing, but if we're competing and that means someone else is being defeated,
Winner loser thing, yeah.
that's not what we're looking for. So really what we're looking for is that problem solving where everyone walks away feeling like, not that they've settled, but they're completely happy with the outcome. And it might involve some compromise, but it's a willing compromise.
Right.
And it's not a one-sided compromise. Because those of us who I learned about compromise, as long as I did it the way the other person wanted, it was no problem. But that to me wasn't compromise. That was just giving in. So, okay, so this session, we're going to go through the foreword, the introduction, and chapters 1 through 3. If you don't have the book, you don't have to have it, although I do think it's very, very helpful. And I do think it's something that if you're like me and conflict is not your favorite thing to do, you might want to have the book and every once in a while pick it up and go, I think I need to read that book again.
I have 4 more coming.
Oh, good.
$5.
We just forgot to bring ours.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
some, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometime between now and next week, if you can read chapters 4, 5, and 6, that would be good. And that way you'll have a little more background.
And you can't download it either on Audible. I tried.
Oh, that's good to know.
No, because I like to listen when I'm driving.
Yeah.
But it's not downloadable on Audible. I tried. So,
Okay, so just a quick overview of what we're going to go through in this session. We're going to explore the meaning and purpose of earthly human life. We're going to look at methods of integrating the Eye of the Storm principles, and one of the things we're going to be using that you'll see in the book is called awareness. It's like therapy, but it's self-therapy, and it's becoming more aware and centering. And that's something that I was really trying to emphasize in the talk this morning. We're going to look at the spiritual context for wholeness and how we can experience the storms that we will inevitably experience in life without the resistance. And we're going to talk about a way to deal with what is called the enemy. No one is against us.
True.
We make our own path. And this is a quote from Marianne Williamson that I just thought fit really, really well with this topic. Linda Ridley, would you read that, please?
Love and fear represent two different lenses through which to view the world. Which I choose to use will determine what I think I see.
So true.
We're looking through our own lens.
Yeah, yeah. Everything we see is filtered through the lens through which we're looking. And when we're coming from a place of peace and strength and composure and love, we're going to see things differently. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And one of the things I really like about this quote is, which I choose will determine not what I see, but what I think I see. And that, you get the difference there? Because what we see and what we think we see ain't necessarily the same.
Or it could be. Want it to be. I took a picture, you know, and I had like a light coming down, you know, and I saw it as, you know, God sent that to me.
Yes.
It might have been a reflection off of my camera.
Oh no, that was a God moment.
But I
I'm
believe
with
it
you.
was
That's
God.
right, we have choices.
Sent it to me.
Darn tootin'. And the question is asked at the beginning of this book, where did we come from? Our earthbound journey emerges from a world of transparent light and timelessness. And I found this picture, and I just, you know, have you ever thought about, you know, what was going on with me before, you know, before I entered this world and went,
Good job. You sounded really real right there.
You did a very good thing.
Like called a midwife or something.
Oh, no.
but, you know, and you think about, you know, I love this picture. It's like, as I floated there, I looked down at this stunning planet, a beautiful gem in the universe. And how fortunate are we to have been born in the U.S. for starters? You know, to have been born at this point in time of technology and what we're learning and how we're evolving and growing. But we're going to talk about why we're here. We are here to serve, and we are here to grow. That is our purpose. We're not just here marking time. We're here to learn. We're here, and through what we learn, it allows us to grow, and we are here to serve. I see someone. I don't want to change it. If
You would get my tone.
I like that picture of the girl with the water in your mouth.
I can send it to you, I got it. I'll send it to you.
I did, I got it.
Okay.
Red and yellow.
And Mary Ann, can you read that? It's a little
Okay.
not easy to read.
Yeah. Thanks, so you give it to me, huh?
It's for you.
Our path, it is calmly and peacefully, while looking into the mouth of the dragon. Remember who we really are, divine emissaries, and so to think, feel, and act accordingly. Yeah, that is kind of my eyes.
Yeah.
It's hard
But
to read.
the thing is, and the key words here are to calmly and peacefully look into the mouth of the dragon. Think about that story about that Manindra this morning.
That was a good.
That he was
Comparative
able
to
to just sit there with a sword to his chest
That he didn't look at.
that he didn't even look at.
So cool.
He didn't, you know, I'm sure he felt it, knew it was there. I mean, he knew what this Khan was known for, and he heard the words.
And said his words back to him.
Yeah.
That was a powerful thing, you know what I mean? Khan heard his words back, you know what I mean? And it was huge.
Yeah.
Now that was real Genghis Khan. Did that really happen? But Genghis Khan was real.
Right, right.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's most of these stories, I would guess
Doesn't matter.
are just created, but.
The lessons are good either way.
But still, the point is that we'll, when I was doing this, I found a picture of a monk, and I found a picture of a guy, you know, the Mongol guy. So I have that picture in my mind now. And that's why I like having the visuals, because when we can remember, and the stories to me are what help us remember the principle and put it to use. So this awareness, and that it means to look deeper into our present and ask, are our present fears rooted in past issues?
Could you repeat that?
Look deeper.
Oh, okay.
Are our present fears rooted in past issues?
I think
I
that's
would
so,
think so.
we don't even
Always.
realize how much they
Right.
It's
are.
a knee-jerk.
Yeah.
Buried them.
And Tim always calls that the reptilian brain.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
When it's
Right.
knee-jerk and it happens,
Right?
yeah.
And Carol, can you read that quote under awareness?
the deeper one,
Fear is only possible.
fear is only possible when we don't feel connected to. Fear is only possible when we don't feel connected to our sense of wholeness and worth, or when we don't see God in the situation.
Mm.
And the thing is, breathing would help, because to get to this, I need a little space, time, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because if I don't allow that breath, do you know what I mean, and not respond, well, you can imagine.
Right, right.
Also, like cause I try to tell my grandkids, you know, if they are getting upset, you know, pause for a minute
There you go.
and take a, you know, stop, you know.
Mm.
I mean, situations are situations.
Right.
Right, they're gonna come up.
Trying to get through them.
Right, exactly. I mean, how many of you remember as a kid hearing count to 10?
Oh, yeah. That really was pretty good.
Never
Count to
learned that.
10.
That's pretty good advice.
Because, I mean, not that I did it.
I know.
You did one thing, that's
Did they count to 10 before
Yeah,
they
exactly. All right, I did it. Now I'm still mad.
I don't want to slap you.
My question is, did they count to 10 before they hit us? Before they spanked us?
Oh, yeah, I got
Let it go.
those too. And the other integrating principle that we're going to focus on is centering. And what centering does, it helps us to embrace a difficult situation without becoming defensive or reactive. And this is my opinion, this is not what Gary Simmons wrote in the book. My opinion is sometimes we have to practice just taking the count to 10, becoming aware. We have to do that first, because until we're aware, we are going to go back to the automatic, defensive, reactive things that we've always done. So it begins with the awareness, and then we learn through practice how to not immediately become defensive or reactive. And the quote from the book is, "Your body must be relaxed, and your mind must be capable of shifting attention and awareness in order not to create resistance." Because what happens when we resist?
Persist.
It's not pretty.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta wait out something.
Yeah.
I gotta wait out some pain.
Oh, heck yeah.
And she used the word breathe because taking a breath will help you relax. I see sometimes people have sent out where one little kid is telling the other kid, now just breathe.
Yes.
One,
Yeah.
the younger child is having a fit, and then the older one, maybe 2 years older, is saying, just take a breath now, just breathe. But it gets more oxygen to your brain and your muscles so that you do relax. So
Because we are physical beings. Yes, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, yet we have to remember, we are human. We are those physical beings.
We do remember, believe me.
My granddaughter hands me my phone and says, meditate.
See, she knows they know we need it, don't they?
I love it.
She's just imitating what you're teaching.
That's very cool.
Yep, that's good.
Well, because I meditate to songs. So meditation.
Right.
So, Linda Geibel, can you read this for us?
No one and nothing is against us. Attention and awareness continuously reframe the present moment in the context of past experiences. We can consciously choose where we put our attention and awareness. Oh, you want me to read the bottom one too?
Yeah.
Who we are today is what sets tomorrow's stage.
Right. So who we were in the past set the stage for all that stuff that we've gone to up to this point. And if we want to not repeat some of that stuff that's back there, then we have to set the stage today for what we want to see tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, no one and nothing is against us, except maybe ourselves. This is like one of my favorite quotes from this whole book. If our consciousness is in bondage to the past, or if our attention is mesmerized according to ingrained patterns of awareness, the future is simply an extended line from here into tomorrow. And this quote I used this morning, and this is probably, again, one of the most important lines in the book. Everything that is either for us or against us has its roots within us. And the only person that can change it is us. Nothing out there, no one out there is gonna fix us. And nobody's future is etched in stone. You know, I don't know how many times have you talked to somebody and they say, well, you know, it's just the way my family's always been that way. I've always been that way. How many times have you heard people say that? As if there is absolutely nothing they can do about it. That's just the way I am.
Yeah.
Oh well, take it or leave it.
It's an excuse not to change.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, oh, believe me, I'm not saying I never do.
I know.
But yeah, it's,
Anita, are you going to send out the copies of this? Because some people are taking pictures and they will be able to
If
download
you
them.
ask me for it, it's just I have to put it into Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever because it's too big to just send it easily.
Right.
So, I mean, if you have a thumb drive that you would like to have copies of this stuff and bring a thumb drive with you to class, well, you can just download it onto that and then you've got it. Because it's just easier for me. 'Cause
Well, it'll be online too, so if you really
Yeah.
want to, you know, you can
right, it'll be on our
watch it more
YouTube
than once,
channel.
right.
Yeah. And the future can
Download it
only,
from there.
and I love this too, the future can only be regarded as probabilities floating upon a sea of infinite possibilities. But the probabilities are determined by what?
now,
Us.
Yes.
oh, what we're
By
doing now.
by our current awareness, and we're setting the stage for our future.
What's that expression, don't trouble till trouble troubles you? That's helped me a lot because, you know, I can make up stories that, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And most of it never happens, most of it.
Oh, right.
Waste of time and energy,
Mhm.
right?
Nothing opposes us. And the chapter title, chapter 1, the title is No One is Against You. I rephrase that to say nothing opposes us because I just don't like to speak in the terms that say, you know, the focus is on against. To say no one is against you, it means the same thing as nothing opposes us. You know, everything is for us. Any experience to the contrary, anything that looks like it's in opposition to us, is evidence that our mind is rooted in separation rather than oneness and wholeness and illusion. And this, you know, Ben's going to start doing the Course in Miracles classes. And so much of this stuff just is it's all telling us the same thing. And we live in our illusions of the way we used to be, and the illusion that nothing's going to ever change. Well, nothing will ever change until we change. And if we resist what seems to resist us, we strengthen the hypnotism, keeping us in bondage to our past and making our future predictable. If we want the future to change, we have to change. We have to change. If we want somebody to love us, we better darn well learn to love ourselves first. And it took me years to figure that one out. Searching for what's missing. Our insecurities and self-protection strategies are rooted in a deep sense of incompleteness. We only feel whole when we feel good about ourselves, when we're successful, when we have enough money, when we're happy. But if that's the only time we feel whole, is that really wholeness? And these are the questions that we are asked to contemplate in this book. So we're looking at a new paradigm for wholeness. Kim, can you read that? Or
Oh, yeah. Wholeness is not outside us, nor is it separate from us. It is the essence of our true nature and spiritual identity.
say it again.
Wholeness is not outside us, nor is it separate from us. It is the essence of our true nature and spiritual identity.
We have to get that. We have to get that. We're already whole. There's nothing missing. The only thing that's missing is we don't know our own wholeness. And that's part of what we're here to do, what we're here to learn. Like a storm system, competing needs, wants, and values combined with misperception, defensiveness, and the need to be right create an energetic field of influence that is the storm inherent in interpersonal conflict.
Hence the title.
Yes, hence the title. I mean, have you ever known anyone who, I don't care if you're talking about the weather, they have to be right?
Oh my gosh.
it's tiring. It really is tiring. And sometimes, I forget who was it that said this, but we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So sometimes we have to look at who we spend the most time with and say, I love you and I'm going to spend a little less time with you. I mean,
Because I don't want to kill you.
yeah.
It's really that simple.
And unfortunately, sometimes those are the very people that this applies to is family. I mean, you love them dearly, and sometimes you just kind of have to say, well, I'll see you at Thanksgiving. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Because we can't expect somebody else to change to please us. And we don't have to subject ourselves to their issues. And there are people out there with a lot of issues. Darrell,
Yes.
can you read that for us?
The eye of the storm. At the circumference of the storm, winds of confusion, blame, and a need to be right blow with devastating, what's that? Ferocity. At the center, the eye of the storm, forces are in perfect equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
At the eye, there is peace, calm, clarity, and stillness.
That is what this book is all about. Because there are going to be storms going on all around us. We're not going to be able to avoid that. Stuff happens. However, at the center, at the eye of the storm, the eye with a capital I. If we can remain peaceful, if we can remain calm, and sometimes it's not going to be our first reaction. We've been practicing the other way way too long. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take practice, but the more we practice, the better we're going to get at it. I mean, has anybody ever learned to play an instrument? Or drums? Or anything? I mean, when you first pick up that instrument, when you first hit that drum, when you first try to sing a song you've never sang before, you're not very good at it. How do you get better? Practice.
I believe you gotta practice spirituality too.
You ain't whistling Dixie, girlfriend.
Did you read a book? Did you read a book about that?
You're
I've read a lot of books about it.
You're absolutely right. But that's the thing. It's not just about coming to this class or coming to church. It's about what we do on a regular basis. And to me, however much time I spend on this stuff, however much money I spend on my books is worth it. Because then when I get into a situation, I have someone in my life that I love dearly, and they drive me crazy. And I'm getting better at when that person is behaving in such a way that I don't agree with, I don't get as riled up as I used to. Boy, because I used to, it's like, you know how somebody can push your buttons?
Fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. There's a couple of real excellent button pushers in my life. And I've learned through practice when those buttons are being pushed, and I've learned that I don't like it when all of a sudden Anita is screaming and yelling and acting like a crazy woman because somebody else didn't behave the way I thought they should. They can still behave whatever way they want to. It's their life, it's not mine. And I can choose to learn how to respond differently
Or not respond at all.
or not respond at all.
That's helped me. If it's email especially.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that's the eye of the storm, because even in the very first one we looked at, the problem solver, I'm gonna go to that. The problem solver generally is the eye, but they feel like they have to contain the storm and make everything
Yes.
kind of calm down. And maybe that's not it at all. Maybe the thought is, as a problem solver, you need to learn how to solve your problem, your intention, or your need to
Yeah.
handle that, you know. There's a great line from Alcoholics Anonymous, not my monkey, not my circus, not my circus, not my monkey.
And Michelle, another one I just thought of is, if they were fixable, they would have been fixed already.
Exactly,
Just saying.
exactly.
I mean, you know, people are,
Exactly. So I think
age.
the eye of being the eye of the storm is that exact, am I at peace with this? Am I calm? Do I need to answer these situations or let the situation just develop on its own? I don't have to be a problem with the situation. And that's a very, especially when you're a leader, that's a very tough place to go. Is to kind of go, okay, I'm out of here, I'm out of here.
practice helps though.
Oh, absolutely, without
Practice,
question, and we're
thank God.
practicing all the time. And, you know, I wish I would have learned so much of this stuff when I was 10.
Oh,
Don't you
When
wish
I
they would
was
teach you
10
this
or
in-
12.
Some
or-
schools are.
meditation.
Yeah.
It's never too early.
Yeah, schools are
They should
doing
start
meditation.
doing
You know, they don't send them to detention, they send them to the meditation room. I love that.
Oh, that's a great
That
idea.
is so cool.
Okay.
That is just so cool.
Absolutely.
And with the right fighters, I have a family of right fighters. And,
Oh, yeah.
and you can just get all riled up and you can go into the storm. Big John, who was at another Unity church, he would say, when somebody was going on with their, you know, I'm right, and, you know, even politics, I said, well, you know, perhaps, maybe, possibly. And that just kind of like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
not,
because there's no, you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Another good-
yeah.
That's
That's a great,
interesting.
that's a great
That works.
observation, thank you for sharing, or, you know, how wonderful it is that you told me about that, or I never looked at it that way, and,
It's a lot.
you know, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, then we don't have to fight about this?
Right, right.
you're no fun.
I'll take
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that under consideration. These are all, I had to one time, when I was trying to get my mind together with my family, I literally wrote down every answer I could think of that was non-reactive.
Yeah, yeah.
I sat, and I had it, I am not kidding you when I tell you this, I had it by my phone. At that time, we had landlines, nobody could get a hold of me this way.
Right.
And they would call me, and I would be standing there looking at this list, and I'd be hearing what they're saying, and they're carrying on, carrying on, carrying on, and I'd go, oh, that's a great observation. Or, I never thought of it that, and I just started reading it, because if I read off of there, I was over there. I was crazy involved.
Yeah.
I've
but-
been like that with,
Yeah.
you know, my husband, with what I'm going through right now. And,
Yeah,
you know, like, stuff he would send me would, like, scare me and startle me, and now I know to just delete.
delete, right. I mean, because text messages can get so stupid. But that's what I had to do, and that was part of my programming. So that when I did have the big list in front of me, I had said these things so many times that it was easy when somebody was trying to fisher me in.
Yep.
Right,
I'd
right,
say,
right.
that's a great idea. I'm going to think about that, all right? And you don't have to think about it, but it stops them from getting
Anything,
crazy
yes.
on you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I'll take that under consideration.
Yeah.
I love using those kind of lines
Yeah.
because how does anybody fight that?
Right?
Tell me
You know.
more.
No, don't tell me more.
No, that's
No,
what
that's-
the book tells you to do.
Yeah, tell me more, I would have a problem with that, because I wanna get, I wanna get
I
out
would,
of it.
I would
too.
have a problem.
I want a
with
closure,
asking
like,
for
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Thank you for your
have a problem with
information.
What do you do with a person that just goes on and on and on and won't shut up, and it's
that. I'm
all
related to one of
negative?
those people.
Oh, I have a sister, I love her dearly.
Oh, you
But
have
she-
one too?
Yeah, I mean, she'll do anything for you, she's a sweetheart, but man, she is negative. And I'm thinking, oh my. And I said, I wish we wouldn't talk about this, I don't wanna hear about, I try to get her, and she's so compulsive in talking, she don't even hear what you're saying.
Right, right.
And I feel bad for her, cause she's got some problems.
Sometimes I think with people like that, you almost have to be a little blunt
I was a
and
couple times.
say, I don't, yeah.
I have an appointment in 15
I have an
minutes.
appointment. Hard to do when you're in the
People
car
that
though.
gossip
She'll
or,
get
you know what I mean?
I don't
Yeah, I
driving.
mean, sometimes blunt is the best way to be,
Yeah.
and, you know, not that I don't love you, but can we talk about something else?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I've done that too.
I use humor sometime to get my mind to not go to a different spot. I was telling her about this last night, that I use something like, and I'll say it to myself, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm thinking totally different. I'll say something like, I don't know what's wrong with him, but I bet you it's hard to pronounce. Or something.
Read your mind. I like that, Ann. I'm gonna try that one. I'm gonna try that one.
I bet you it's
That's great.
That's great, I like that.
I bet you're right.
But it gets my mind off of
Yeah,
yeah.
thinking what, you know, paying attention to what they're saying. you know?
right?
Yes.
Right? So what I see is what I get. We have a choice in how we interpret our life experiences. Because we make our lives mean what they mean. It's like that Marianne Williamson quote. You know, our view, whether we're looking for what the lens that we are looking through, makes what we think we see what we think we see. You know, it's like, oh, I know when she said that to me that she was just, you know, I can go there. But do we really want to go there? No. No, we don't. Our thoughts and feelings create mental and emotional states that influence how we relate or respond to what is happening. And if you look at this little thing there, and this is from psychology. It's called a cognitive triangle. Our thoughts affect our feelings, and that affects our behavior. But it's not a one-way street. You know, if we allow our behavior to get out of control, which I've done, you know, it's like I want to, you know, I don't tend to punch anybody because I feel like I'd lose.
Yeah. But you're thinking about it though.
But yeah, you know, sometimes you
I
just
felt like doing that a few times.
yeah. I mean, so that cognitive triangle, but if you can get one of
Just
those
one.
areas, just one of those areas under control. If you can't control your thoughts, can you at least control your behavior? And if you can't control your behavior or your thoughts, can you at least say, okay, breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sing a
Look
Beatles
out at
song.
a picture or something,
Yeah.
you know, to like a mental picture or something.
Right.
Anything that helps.
Right.
Anything that helps.
But just to get yourself out of that loop.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are gaps in our awareness. So when we don't know what's going on or what's happening, what do? We compensate by filling in the missing pieces.
There's a
Right,
make it up
yeah.
story
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Our mind goes back and it accesses the
Fills
beliefs,
it in.
the memories, and the deep impression from years of our background, and looks for correlations And then we use that to make assumptions. Know what happens when we assume?
Yeah. Hello.
Oh,
And then on top of it, our imagination kicks in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The sky is falling, the sky is falling. I love that story when it's, but it's true. I mean, you know, we can take the littlest. I mean, have you ever been in a situation where something happened and your mind just grabs onto it and it just keeps playing? It's like a broken record in my head, and I don't want to think about that anymore. Yeah, it's like, okay, don't think about a pink elephant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what picture went into everybody's mind? And and then our imagination gets going, and that's why it's like, it's like, I gotta go do something else so that because otherwise I'm going down that road, and it ain't a road I want to go down. So we have to learn techniques that work for us to switch gears. When there's a gap in our awareness, we're going to make that situation mean something relevant to our own sense of well-being and self-worth. And if you would have asked me a year ago if I had issues with my self-worth, I'd have said, no, I'm good. And I don't know, one of the multiple classes that I've taken, you know, I've done a lot of work looking deeper into Anita. And I found some unworthiness in there that didn't even know it was still there. I really didn't. And that's why I'm saying, as much as we've grown, and I know all of you have grown tremendously from wherever you were, but there's always more we can do. There's a story in this book that honestly, you guys, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning to do more work on this, and I don't know what happened to it, but it's not there anymore. So, okay, it is what it is. Anyway, there's a story, and I made another slide, and it went away. I don't know. Anyhow, there's a story in here, and it was just so appropriate for me that I wanted to share it with you. And it talks about the minister of a large, it's just on page 29 and 30 of this book, if you want to read it for yourself. The minister of a large church became suspicious of his board president's intentions after learning that she'd called a special meeting during the minister's absence. Reverend Tom's suspicion became more concrete when the board president canceled a routine luncheon with no prior notice or explanation. Later, the minister discovered that she'd been snooping around in his office after hours. The church secretary confided that the board president seemed secretive and overly concerned at being discovered. The minister imagined that the board was conspiring against him. He began to piece together other events and conversations that supported the possibility of hidden agendas. He felt certain that his job was in jeopardy and that the board would demand his resignation. At the end of the week, he received a call from the treasurer informing him of a special meeting of the board to be held immediately following Sunday services. He asked the treasurer about the meeting and was told the meeting would be brief and to the point.
She's dreaming with this one.
Yeah. Tom found little comfort in the applause from his congregation following his sermon entitled "Believing in Yourself." While the congregants were going through the receiving line, he was preoccupied with what would become of the church and his congregation. He wouldn't leave without a fight, he thought to himself.
Yeah.
Tom entered the boardroom and unlike Daniel in the den of lions, he was nervous and afraid of confronting his adversaries. Sally, the board president, asked Tom to open the meeting with prayer. His hands were cold. He felt embarrassed as all joined hands in a circle for prayer. Sally began by apologizing to Tom for the board's not being more open and forthright in its deliberations, but she said that given the circumstances before it, the board had decided to conduct their business in executive session. Sally continued with recognizing Tom's accomplishments, the ways he'd been a blessing to so many, and the extent to which he would be missed should circumstances arise that would cause him to leave the church. Tom braced himself as he listened. Sally looked at her fellow board members as she announced to Tom the board's unanimous decision to recommend to the membership that the church purchase a luxury home for their minister in appreciation for his many years of dedicated service to the church. In addition, the home would be gifted to the minister. Tom sank speechless into his chair. Tears filled his eyes. His only consolation in the midst of overwhelming embarrassment was that he had not given in to the urge to rally supporters in a campaign of ousting his mutinous board. Can you believe that? I mean, I read that and went, OMG. Because isn't that what we do, though?
Yeah.
So too often, we just go to the worst possible scenario and figure that's what's going. Well, that must be that's what they're doing. I know. And rather than going there, perhaps we ought to think differently. So when we fill in the gaps with our worst fears, we run the risk of creating our worst nightmares.
I know when we were teaching students how to answer complaints on the phone, you're always polite and you listen and you let them rattle on, they'll scream and holler and carry on, but eventually it'll be quiet. That's your time to come in and say, what would you like us to do? Silence. Silence. And they'll come up with the simplest answer. Maybe I'd like a refund. Or maybe could I return whatever it is? And in your mind, you're thinking, oh my God, it's gonna be a lawsuit.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lawyer, And it always wound up being something so simple.
It wound up being something so simple, I think, possibly, because of the training that you gave them of listening.
Yes.
And they were heard, they felt heard.
That person to vent what they were feeling and what they were going through, because if you cut them off at the knees, then you might be looking at
Right. And you never take it personally.
Right?
You never take it personally.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
That's because this chickie could never be a customer service rep. Nope. We are not our experiences. This is really good. Kay, can you read that?
We are not our experiences. Our soul deliberately gives us challenges, stretch us in ways that separate us from our falsehoods and dependencies. Let me see, where is it? Thus moving us toward our innate wholeness. That's a good
Yeah.
sign, that's a sign. I need to
So,
see.
so when we're in a situation that we find challenging, the universe is always looking for our highest good, right? Always. So when we're in a situation that we're finding challenging, guess what?
Life lessons. Woo woo.
That's right. And that's exactly what we should be doing. We should be celebrating, saying, "Oh, wow,
Yeah.
I must have something to learn here."
Yeah, lots.
This Robert Taylor that's coming on Thursday, he gave me a reading years ago, and he said my first husband was my brother in a previous life, which made absolute sense. And I won't go into any details. And my current husband was my boss in a current life.
And I can see that.
I don't have to add any details to that either.
Question answered.
It's lessons learned, and we have, both of the husbands have helped me, and I've helped them with their shortcomings.
Yeah.
Right? But that's,
But that's, so it's the soul's fault that's doing that.
yeah.
No responsibility, Lynn, none. Don't take any
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
Nothing personal, but yeah. And this is from the previous class we did, but it came from this book. When we don't feel okay about ourselves, when we feel inferior, when deep down inside we feel flawed, what we actually are is spiritually impoverished. Because we live in an abundant universe. And we live in a universe where we are not just loved, we are love itself. So if we're feeling like unloved, if we're feeling less than, if we're feeling like, if they really knew what I was like, nobody would like me. And I mean, I hate to say it, but there are people out there that go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I was ever quite that bad, but I certainly, I'll tell you, the things that Anita used to say to Anita were just ugly. Ugly.
I've been married, and sometimes it can be actually scary what you think to yourself.
Oh.
What you-
And you would
then
not
gotta
say
turn
that.
that around, you know, and,
And you wouldn't say that to your children or your
No.
best friend, and you said that before. I mean,
Right.
stuff that you would never think to say to
No.
somebody else.
No, you would never say it to somebody else.
That you love.
And then when you start paying attention to your own thoughts, you hear the horrible things that you're saying to yourself. And then it's like, stop.
Yeah.
What was I doing? What was I thinking? But we can change. That's our opportunity. There's never enough time, energy, money, resources, or creativity until we release any sense of separation from our true self. When we, at the core of our being, feel we are not enough, nothing outside of us can complete us or fulfill us. I mean, I don't know, it was a few years ago, it was like this whole "you complete me" thing.
Oh, yeah, that was sad.
Scary.
A
lot of
Yeah.
songs, a lot of songs.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't, yeah. Or I'm looking for my better half. I always love that.
Oh, God.
Yeah. They're my better half. Better half of what?
Or at weddings where they take you take your individual candles and you fuse them as one, so you have no more individuality. Catholic services do that
Oh, yeah,
all
we do
the time.
that. Yeah, we do that.
And we're all one spiritually, but you know what I'm saying? Never mind. Maybe I was overthinking that. But
I remember when I went through my divorce and I started making my list of what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I put on there is I don't want my better half I want a whole person like me.
Yeah, there you go.
I better
Not
half, I want
two
a
halves,
whole
that's
person
it.
just like me.
That's
Right.
it, that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
As you see, I have no one here, so I'm,
Just haven't found them yet.
yeah, I haven't crossed my path yet.
There you go.
But I remember saying that, I think, no, I'm whole, I'm good. You know, whatever. But
My therapist, when I was going through my divorce, she said, look at the symbols of the two rings combined. They are two holes together. They're not one, they are two holes
I like that.
together.
Right.
And I always remembered that you gotta have two holes.
Two holes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a really good point.
Anita, our saying at singles was one is a whole number.
That's right.
Yes, there you go, I remember that, that
Right.
was so cool. I love that.
One is a whole
It
number.
is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, companionship is great. And I have girlfriends who have been single for years. They do more traveling than I do. They do, you know. It's okay. But, I mean, for me, I'm very, very content in my relationship. And it's okay to be content by yourself.
Yeah.
And if some whole person happens to come along that you are compatible with and you want to spend more time with, that's great too. But one is a whole number. Our own sense of our sense of our own spiritual self that we must come to know is our most valuable possession. That, in the Bible, it talks about the pearl of great price. And that is the pearl of great price, is knowing our own wholeness. Knowing that we, at our core and our essence, are perfect. You are wonderfully and perfectly made.
And how does the pearl get made?
Yes.
Right, oh, yeah.
Good point.
Talk
Yeah.
about
How
that.
How does
We should all be very shiny by now.
very shiny, I like it, yeah.
I mean, the pearl is made from pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how does coal turn into a diamond? Pressure. So those tough situations that we try to avoid or run away from, in my case, they're not meant to harm us. They are meant for our good. And that's when we get that through our skulls, that's when things start getting better. We must learn to embrace life completely. Key phrase here. Without needing it to be a certain way. And we need to do that so that we can discover our essence. Because our essence cannot be limited or contained by our human experience. And then this little picture says, embrace life. It is either pleasuring you, offering you opportunities, or teaching you.
I'm reading this book by Maureen St. Germain, Waking Up in the Fifth Dimension. And in it she says when there's a situation, experience, that you are having, she said, don't go about it with, why is it always me? What happened? Her thing is to say, I wonder what's going on. And take it from that perspective, because then you're in a learning mode then.
Yep. Another one that I've heard is, boy, isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Like we're the observer.
Yeah.
Or I say to myself, man, that was pretty wild.
That's good too. Whatever works.
Wild ride.
Yeah. I mean, we need to, I switched from saying things were problems to saying they were challenges. And now I'm moving from saying things are challenges to saying that they are opportunities.
Opportunities, yeah.
Or everything works together for the goodness.
Yep.
Yes.
I like that.
All
Even when
things
we
work
can't
together for our highest good. That's one of my,
Right.
you know. It's one of my favorites. I had to pick a either a Bible verse or a quote to put them when they introduce me when I walk across the stage when I graduate. And I had the hardest time trying to pick one because they have so many that I like.
So what did you pick? Can you tell us?
I don't know.
Not
I don't
yet?
remember.
I don't remember.
I did it yesterday, and which one I picked,
Well,
I'll have to
it'll
look
come
it
back.
up because I don't know.
It'll come back.
I know.
Give me a
It's
moment to
written
recall
down.
that. Give me a moment to,
It's written down, so
give me a
she'll
moment to
remember.
recall that. I'm never gonna say that one.
But I do. I have so many.
Many.
I mean, there's a line from the Desiderata I often go to. No doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. You know, when something happens and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. I don't get it, but it's okay. We must blend the energies of our soul and our human nature into a synergistic whole. We must know our own innate worth. And this, like I said, that for me, this whole worthiness thing, that was at the bottom of my resisting going to ministerial school for years and years and years and years. I mean, I started speaking in churches in 2014. It is now 2023. And people would say, oh, you're a minister. Oh, no, not me, no. And then it was like, oh, I'm too old, I can't do that, it costs too much, I had every reason in the book. And then when it got right down to it, I discovered, not until after I reluctantly started attending ministerial school, which, by the way, I've never told anybody this, other than a prayer partner that I had while I was in ministerial school. I almost quit.
Me too. Yeah, many times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was ready to quit. Why? Because I wasn't worthy. I wasn't good enough. At least that's what I was telling myself. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. So, you know, if you guys expect me to be perfect, forget it. It ain't happening.
Well, we haven't met a perfect person yet.
That's
Well,
right.
right, yeah.
Well, there was one, but you know what happened to him?
Yeah.
That's good.
We
We're not worried.
Thank you, Linda. And now okay, now we're heading, I'm going too slow, but.
Yeah, and I gotta go because I got a 1:30, but
Yeah.
so when I leave, I don't wanna disturb you.
Yeah, that's okay. This is just chapter 2, and I'm trying to get through 3, and then, sorry. Whatever seems to be against us is what they call our enemy. We know we're in a relationship with an enemy when our first inclination is to be in control of the situation, to be right, or to make the other person wrong. So once we realize we're doing this, that's why it all comes back to awareness. Oh, and one of the slides that's not in here that I put in at 5 o'clock this morning that was at the end of chapter 1, actually at the end of each of these chapters, there is a section called Awareness. And what I'd like you to do is read through it. You don't have to do everything because it's rather extensive. If you choose to, you can. But I'd like to see you pick at least one thing out of the end of each chapter that fits for you. Like, make a list of some of the funny or not so funny things you've done to avoid conflict. And if you would like to, I'd love to have some of us, or all of us, whoever wants to, share what they come up with next week when we come back. So at the end of each chapter, if you have the book, look at the questions and the opportunities that come with the Aware-a-Pie sessions. So, Chapter 2, Enemy Mind, experiencing the storm without resistance. When we resist change with an enemy, a situation or person holding our well-being hostage, the enemy is actually a reflection of our belief that someone or something is against us. That belief is not true. No one and nothing is against us. That's the bottom line.
So, because they can't be against us if they don't even really know us. I'm giving an example on the highway. The trucker's trying to pass me. He's honking, putting on his brights, okay? But he personally, I can't take it personally because he's just doing what he's doing, right?
Right.
So it's my choice to just go, well, I'm really glad I'm over in this lane and I'm slowing down right now. Oh, I put my hazard lights on too, actually.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, we can't control what they do anyway, but
Right.
we can control how we respond to it, right?
Right.
Because I would be crazy to try to, and this has been past life, I mean, not past life, I have done this in my life and thank God it never worked. Swerve out of my lane when I was really mad to get close and scare people. But now, you know what I mean? I don't ever hit them. But I have done that. I have done that. It's like a road rage, mini road
Right.
rage kind of thing.
Right.
But you know, that is so crazy and dangerous.
Yeah, because if they then react to you.
Oh, yeah, I could be dead right now. I'm sitting here,
Right.
thank God.
Right.
Gun out.
I could be,
Nowadays, yep.
Right?
oh yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Road
So,
rage.
it was good, actually. I like sharing the lane and going slow. I had to.
Well, you know, I
I
have,
learned a lot.
I have, under similar circumstances, I have pulled off the road.
Yeah,
Mhm.
whatever it takes, yep.
Just,
Get out of
you know, just get out of the way. And I used, you know, the whole road rage thing, that can get, and like Linda said, I mean, in today's world, oh my gosh, I mean, people.
And you feel it personal because you can't really see their faces. You're behind your vehicle. That, and I'm not excusing. I'm just saying that it's, you know what I mean.
Right,
It becomes you, but it's not really you. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Yeah, it's scary.
right.
It can be.
Today's parents get really upset because of Frozen, and their children
Let
will
it
start
go.
singing, "Let it go."
Yeah.
I know.
And the parents are like, "Ah!"
What are you doing?
And the kid is singing away, "Let it go."
And whatever it helps, yes, it makes them stop.
It makes the parent think. And
Yeah.
if somebody can't afford a notebook and wants to do journaling, that book has got some great
Oh my gosh, yes.
great thinking for journaling.
Yes, it does. I mean, because another one of my favorite sayings, all change begins with awareness. And we have to become aware of what's going on in our own heads. Because I went for years not knowing what I was saying to myself. Years. And when I realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's really ugly. I don't want to do that. I wouldn't talk to anybody else like that. Why am I talking to myself like that? Matthew 5, verse 45 says this. He sends the rain on the just and the unjust alike. If we are to claim our wholeness and worth, we must treat our enemy as we would a beloved friend.
That's not always.
No, it certainly isn't, and I totally get where, you know, I've been through a couple of those ugly things, so I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's not for them.
Exactly.
No, it is true, it's
Yeah,
for
exactly.
you.
That's
It
right.
is for you.
The stress level, I mean, we get physical, you know,
Yeah.
we can name tons of stuff.
And it is the opportunity they bring to us
To practice it.
to practice love, to learn that we are loved, and to, you know, use some of the techniques that people have shared today. That's interesting. I'll have to think about that.
Well, you don't have to be in their energy. I mean, they may be really, say like someone is doing nasty to you.
Yes,
which is
Right.
I mean, you just don't have to be there. You don't have to be around them.
Right?
Maybe you can send them blessings.
That's-
Sometimes it's
let's-
pretty hard to, like, I'm
Right.
not, you know.
Right.
A certain person, I like, you have no idea, but, you know,
Right.
just stay away. Stay away.
Right?
Anita, they're over here blaming you for that picture up there.
Because we can hear it raining outside.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
what
It was
are we doing?
predicted.
Oh, yeah,
It's
weather warning.
It is just pouring.
Okay, you ever can wait.
Yeah,
what can I
Yeah.
When
I guess I'm in deep thought, can't hear the rain.
when we feel tension between ourselves and our enemy, we're at the circumference of the storm. And this is a signal for us to move to the center, to the eye of the storm, where there is peace, calm, clarity, and stillness. So when we look at it that way, when we're feeling that tension and that anger or worry or whatever it is, then we can tell ourselves, okay, I'm at the circumference of the storm. I don't want to be there. That's when we can just take a breath, breathe, go to that center, and calm. You know, and sometimes you just have to say, I'm sorry, I can't have this conversation right now. I really have to go. Thanks, bye. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We just
Take care of ourselves.
have to remove ourselves from the situation. And to me, I don't look at that as running. That's making a conscious choice to remove ourselves from a toxic situation.
Self-care.
Self-care.
It can be hard if it's your boss, though.
It can be hard if it's your boss.
Or your
And then you-
brother.
And-
But I've had that where because I do home care, and I had a lady who, you know, just would kind of push my buttons, and I'd have to go outside and say, Jesus, give me some patience here. Take a
Take
deep
the
breath.
wheel.
Okay, now I can go back in.
Right, because it's work.
Okay, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Just ask for peace, not
Sure,
patience.
I gotta get this.
Don't ask for patience because you'll get more opportunities to practice it. I learned that the hard way.
What you ask for, just peace.
I learned that the hard way
Yeah.
too, Mary.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden I find myself, God grant me patience, but I need it right.
Right, yeah.
I need peace right
There we go,
now.
peace, yeah.
That's the word to use.
Yeah.
Help me
Yeah.
with this situation.
Oh, this is really good. Jesus gave us this guideline, but I tell you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who mistreat and persecute you. This is actually a 4-step program.
Love, bless.
And it's
We
hard
can
to
just
do.
use
And when I redid it at 5 o'clock this morning, there were little numbers there.
But that's okay, we'll look at the underlying.
All right, we don't care.
I don't know where they went.
Maybe you saved it in your computer instead of your flash drive.
Just ask for peace.
I
It's
don't know.
okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
love,
Check it out.
bless. And actually, the
I
do
mean, I spent,
good,
like, I was up from 5 to 6 to 7. I got up about 7:30 and I wasn't quite finished. But it's all gone.
It's a truth.
It's here though, it's just.
You know what, until we get there, we could do love, bless, do good, and if we can't do good right then, just
We can still pray.
don't do bad to them, you know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
The
Pray.
opposite.
You
And
can
then
always pray.
for them.
Yep.
Pray for them, yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
always pray.
And sometimes we have to pray and maybe skip a step if it's in a
Yeah.
quick situation.
They're not necessarily in order, but
Time. Quick.
love your enemies. Embrace the enemy. It's actually a mirror reflecting to us a place in us where we're disconnected from our true worth, our wholeness.
Like when you held up the book, that was really, yes. That was
Yeah.
really like the mirror, yeah.
Love,
That's it.
embrace, value. see the value in the enemy. It brings with it the opportunity for growth in awareness to discover our wholeness, our true worth. To know, I mean, it's there. And we just have to find it, grab it,
Yes.
hold on to it. Bless those who curse you. Endow the enemy, whether it's a person or a situation, with the ability to be a source of good in your life. You know, I have gotten into the habit of thanking my ex-husband, who is a real unpleasant human being, for I have 2 wonderful children, had 3, but have 2 wonderful adult children. And if it was not for that man, I would not have those children. And so I am grateful. And boy, did I do a lot of learning through that
There you go.
experience.
Yeah.
Do good to those who hate you. Doing the right thing means letting go of the need to be right and focusing our attention on what we can do to demonstrate our own wholeness and worthiness in the situation. Let go of the need to be right so that we can do right. I love, again, another one of my faves. If you're in a situation, you always have the choice to be right or be kind. Choose kind. Purpose in relationships. Your purpose in this relationship is to find a greater sense of wholeness and worth, and to be the avenue through which God's love flows into the relationship. That is our purpose in a relationship. To be an avenue through which love can flow into the relationship. And if that's not what's happening, maybe it's not the right relationship. So, and this I had, drives me crazy. I spent all that time. Anyway, do the right thing. Number 1, take authentic action regarding what's missing in the relationship. 2, take ownership of how you have shared in creating the present circumstances. It's a two-way street, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in a relationship and it isn't what you want, it isn't all their fault. Sorry.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that the father of my children, it was all his fault. I contributed
By staying longer than you should have, maybe.
Oh, millions of reasons.
Yeah.
We'd be here another
That's one
hour.
reason.
That is one of it. And 3, take responsibility for the mistakes you've made in your efforts to protect or defend yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And we make plenty of them. And we take responsibility and we forgive ourselves.
And look how much we learned from that. Look how much.
Yep.
So much.
And we let go and move on.
Think of the song. Think of
And then
Frozen all
pray
the way
for
home.
those who mistreat you and persecute you. Why? Because you set yourself free. That's the whole thing about forgiveness and prayer. And forgiveness doesn't mean that what they did was right. Forgiveness means that you don't want to hang on to it anymore, because it does not serve you. Pray, give your thoughts to God. The relationship or situation is not against you, it is for you. It is a gift to you, inviting you to embrace your own wholeness and worth. When you can be in the middle of a challenging situation, and you can go to that center and say, I am love. God is love. Love is all there is. This too shall pass. and just allow it to be and move on. But
Journaling
you
really helps.
stay.
Journaling.
Journaling.
Journaling
Man,
helps a lot.
I don't, when I was going through my divorce, I filled every night after the kids were in bed, I would, a glass of wine and my journal. It was one glass, that's all I had, one glass, that's all I could afford.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, probably.
There you go.
Yeah, it could have been a problem. It turned into a real problem.
Oh, wow.
You would have read about her in the newspaper, maybe you never know.
Yeah, but you know that, and that's the thing. When we start really realizing our own true wholeness and worth, then we don't let these outer circumstances shake us so badly. We pray for our enemies, and when we do, we lift ourselves and the situation into the peace and serenity of God.
And that includes everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Not just some.
Not just for some, but for
Everybody. Yeah.
Praying for our enemies is a way to shift our attention to our center, our spiritual identity, so we can see the relationship as an opportunity for healing and growth. Carol, you want to read that, please?
Love is what we were born with. Fear is what we learned here. The spiritual journey is the unlearning of fear and prejudices and the acceptance of love back in our hearts. Love is the essential reality and our purpose on earth.
Mary Ann Williamson.
President Mary Ann Williamson.
It'll never happen.
No.
Maybe vice president though, right?
But you know what? Just the fact that she's running presents a love viewpoint. Do you know what I mean? It helps anyway.
Well, we can have a Department of War. Why can it?
Yeah, she's
Department of Peace.
She's talked about that forever.
Yeah.
Remember, Renaissance
Yeah.
Unity, she's talked about that.
So I got through it. Little
Yeah.
You guys were so good, and thank you for your contributions. So let's close in prayer. Divine Spirit, thank you for all of this we've discovered about ourselves today, that we've discovered about our relationship with that divine inner spirit, knowing that we are whole, we are complete, and we are completely worthy. We thank you for everyone's contribution today. We thank you for bringing us together, and we thank you for all the many blessings we receive every day from all the various sources that we sometimes didn't used to recognize as blessings. And it is so, and amen.
Amen.
Amen.